Testing, testing, 1, 2. Testing, testing, 1, 2. Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to BWTM Sports. I hope that you can hear me clearly. I'm using the old laptop today because the battery's gone on my other one and I need a new charger. So let me just check and see that you all can hear me clearly before I get going. Because if you can't hear me clearly, then there's no point in me doing this show. But can somebody just give me a check to tell me that the sound is okay? Or I may have to check the sound myself. Checking the sound myself. Sports, I hope that you can hear me clearly. I'm using the old laptop today because the battery's gone my. Yeah, you can hear me loud and clear. Okay. I said good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to BWTM Sports. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave your comments. Check out our Facebook page. We also do live shows now on our Facebook page, BWTM Sports Group, BWTM Sports Channel. Check it out on Facebook. Type it up in Google, BWTM Sports, BWTM Sports Group. You'll get it. It's a public page on Facebook. Get in there, become a member. It's free. We'll give you a shout out when you become our member, and then you can share your comments with us on the Facebook page. We don't have any swearing on the Facebook page. We don't have any. I don't think we've got any trolls on the page either. So, Canelo tests positive for CLENBUTEROL. First and foremost, when I heard this story, I didn't automatically think, he's cheating, because I don't jump to them conclusions like that anymore. I think to myself, okay, they found this. How did they find it? We know that Canelo is eating his way into the middleweight division. So has he been eating more meat? CLENBUTEROL has been found in meat products beforehand. So I am not going to sit here and call the man a cheat, because I don't know what he's done, if he's increased his meat take. Because I said, I think CLENBUTEROL, there's been a few fighters that have been caught with CLENBUTEROL before. CLENBUTEROL is something that I believe, from my understanding of this drug, it increases your stamina. Well, it didn't seem to help Canelo that much, because he seemed to still have stamina problems in the fight against GGG. So I don't know. But Track Media says CLENBUTEROL helps people burn fat. Bodybuilders use it and helps with their breathing when lifting. He may be using it to help his stamina. So I don't know. I'm not going to call Canelo a cheat, because I cannot verify and say, yeah, he 100% is a cheat. I can't say that. But there's a lot of things that go through my mind now in boxing fans, and I'll explain to you what goes in the process of my mind. Might not be the mind of many, just my own personal thoughts. It goes, all right, Canelo's been, this story comes that Canelo's been test positive CLENBUTEROL. Now, here's an example. Bermane Stiverne was caught positive with PEDs, according to some boxing media people. Now, I knew the story of what was really going on, because, as you know, I was quite close to the story, following Bermane around almost. And the story was that Bermane was caught with an energy drink. And the energy drink he got caught with, he was drinking with, he was training with beforehand, he was told by the drug testing people, he was told by them in non-certain terms, if he continues to drink that, it's not good for his own health. That was spun by boxing media and people into it becoming CLENBUTEROL, or no, it was turned into being a PED substance. There's a lot of people doing a lot of reporting that I'm not going to say I'm professional, but there's a lot of jumping the gun. So I'm not saying he didn't do it, and I'm not saying he did do it. I'm just speaking on what we've heard so far. So I want to hear a bit more about it. I want to know about his diet. I want to know what he's been eating. I want to know if they've brought in any different products into the gym, in terms of what the products they've been eating. These are things that are very important. I'm not going to just call somebody a cheat. Sorry, I can't do that. I'm not going to call the man cheat, because so you make a man miss, you make a man pay. How many times did I see Canelo make Gennady Golovkin miss and then hit him with a counter? How many times did I see Canelo hit Gennady with 4 or 5 punch combinations? I saw that. He made a man miss, he made him pay. Those boxing skills are not from PEDs. That is a man that's got good boxing ability. He's got good boxing fundamentals. So I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, that's because he was on clenbuterol. No. But what I will say is, if he has been caught, and if this is the truth, then it's a damn shame that once again, one of boxing's biggest stars is going to be caught into a drug scandal. It will be a damn shame. And of course, if, as Blood Boxing's just said here, if it's on the ban list, he failed. Absolutely. Truth and Facts Box what says Steven's case was totally different. What he was taking was dangerous for him. This is a very valid point, Bo, a very valid point. But what I want to make clear here is how media spin things. We knew, me and you knew, and those close knew that Steven was not taking any substance like that. And when I told you the whole story of how it came about, but when it came out in the boxing media, it was, oh, Steven's been using performance-enhancing drugs. If you don't believe me, go back and read all the statements that are still floating around on boxing media. That Steven was on PEDs. So we know what the truth was, but it's still floating around out there. So again, when we go and talk about Canelo, I ask the question, did he do it? What's the circumstance? What's the situation? I am not going to be judge and jury for anybody, and I'll tell you why. I won't be judge and jury for anybody. And people are very quick to point fingers at people, because if it's you and you're in a situation at your workplace, or at your workplace, and you're accused of being called a racist, or you're accused of being a bigot, or you're being accused of being a rapist, or whatever you're being accused of, or thief, you want a fair trial. You want a fair trial. So I don't do unto others as I wouldn't like done unto myself. So fair trial. That's all I want. I want a fair trial. Is the man guilty? Yes or no? I don't want to be a part of any sort of propaganda. The first thing I thought when I heard this story was, I wonder who Canelo's and his team have pissed off. That's the first thing I thought. That's the first thing I thought. And people will look at Canelo and say, well, look at how he was and how he looks now. Well, yeah, he's definitely on it. People don't give other people credit for, hard work and dedication, because there are people that are genuine people out there who respect the sport and train hard and get themselves in positions and fight, and they're clean as anything. And then there are others out there who are downright cheaters. We need to make a clear defining line between one and the other. Yes, 78 Sports TV, how you doing, brother? Oh, thank you so much, brother. Thank you so much for the donation. I hope you're well. Do you want to come in the room, 78? It'd be great to have you in the room, and Bo as well. And let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about it. And I want to talk about Deontay as well. But I am not going to jump the gun and start saying on this channel he's a cheat. I'm not doing it. I have a responsibility within media, not just boxing, but in media in general, to try and give a fair story. So this stuff about him being a cheat, I'm not entertaining. If he is a cheat and he's the biggest star in boxing and he's cheating, it's an absolute, I got time, bro. Great. It's an absolute disgrace if he has been caught, and it is the truth. It's an absolute disgrace. Let me try and get people in the room here. Stupid laptop I've got at the moment. I'm using. Right. Okay. Okay. Thank you, bro. I'll send it to you now. 78sportstv@gmail.com. I will say this much. If Canelo is caught and it is genuinely true that he is a cheat, they should throw the whole. If that is the case, then they should give him the full treatment, as with any person that's caught with drugs. Sorry. You're not the media. What makes that the case? What's with the curtains, man? I don't know. You tell me what's wrong with the curtains. You're just a bellend with some camera. You know, it takes a bellend to know a bellend, but I will tell you this much. I'm legit, my friend. I'm as legit as they come. So, as a matter of fact, I'm just a guy with a webcam. Hold on. I think I'll do this today for some people. Oh. Hold on a second. I'll be back a second just to deal with this situation. Whoops, is it? Oh. Give me a second, simply. Yeah, I'll be with you in a second. Hold on. Oh. My body warm. I'll find some quickly.
Yo.
Ah! Right. Sorry about that, people. I'll be back.
Can you hear me, bro?
Sorry back. Brother.
That's what's up. That's what's up, man. How you been?
I'm good, brother. Let me just deal with a little situation here. Somebody said to me that I wasn't legit. Here's the legitimacy. It's a press pass from the National Union of Journalists. Press pass. It says here that the National Union of Journalists says here National Police Chiefs Council recognise the holder of this card as a bona fide news gatherer. This is from the National Union of Journalists. It says my name on it. Ingram Jones says broadcaster. You don't get a press pass like this. This is not just a press accreditation. You don't get a press pass unless you actually can bonify and prove that you are what you are. So for those people that turn around and say that I'm just a guy with a webcam, you can take it and shove it where the sun don't shine, to be honest. So that's just proved my point there. No, I have to make a statement like that because people need to understand that I'm not just a joker behind with a camera. I'm actually legit at what I do, and I don't have to prove myself, but sometimes people need to see certain things and be proven. to verify certain things. So we move on. 78 Sports TV, brother, how are you doing?
I'm good, brother. How you been?
I am delighted. First of all, I'm delighted at the fact that Deontay Wilder has proven the world wrong. Many people want to see him get completely destroyed. And like I said, Luis Ortiz put a fair fight up, but, you know, the ending was inevitable, as I said before the fight was even announced.
I see Bo in the comments. Truth and facts about boxing. He want a link. Hey, Bo, you from Chicago, man. You a Bears fan. You can't get no link, man. Hey, Bo, if you say you are now a Packers fan, we'll send you a link, man. Say it. Let's hear it. About that one. Yeah, man, that's what's up. I've been watching, man. You've been doing some real good interviews, man. Real good interviews.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. I appreciate you, and always appreciate the love that you show on the channel. And I know that a lot of the LDBC, and I'm going to give the LDBC a big shout out now because they're doing some fantastic stuff. But in terms of Deontay Wilder, the man's been getting a lot of stick, a lot of flack. He is what he is. He's not technically brilliant, but he has absolutely dynamite in his fists. And I don't care who you are in the heavyweight division. If that right hand lands on you, you are going to sleep. He's knocked out every opponent that he's faced, and he fought the bogeyman in the division that not even Joshua wanted to face. So this is not me dick riding. This is just me saying it as it is. He beat a man that was unbeaten. The only thing I would say is Ortiz hadn't fought for a year, but that's Ortiz and his management's issue, not Wilder's issue, and he did the job. And he came for a difficult, sticky moment in the 7th round, got hurt, came back like a champion, and did what had to be done. The most devastating heavyweight in the division at the moment. Your thoughts?
Man. Hey, it was a great performance, man. I was so proud because I knew Wilder. I'm gonna tell you something. I knew Wilder was sick before the fight, and I was terrified because as a Wilder fan, I'm like, man, he didn't want to tell anybody because he didn't want people to think he was making excuses before like his first big test. So he kept it to himself. And I was so proud of him when he was able to get it done anyway. But you could tell in the fight he was so sick, man. You could tell like his energy was zapped. He came in very light and his energy was just zapped, man. Like even after the fight, he's gasping for air and he's sitting there trying to gather himself, no electrolytes in the system, Bo says, okay, I'm a Packer fan. Bo, did you send Bo a link? This dog is getting on my nerve, man. I got this dog in my ear. I'm sorry. Hold on 1 second. Let me. Yeah, but it's gotten to the point where Wilder. Hey, listen. I'm sorry, Ingram, man. I got my dog right next to me, man. But he got through that storm, man, and it took a lot of heart. It took a lot of heart to get through that. You know what I'm saying? To be sick and then get through Luis Ortiz, who's banging on you. He got you hurt. It looked like you're about to go down, and for you to still maintain and keep it going, man, it was just amazing to come back and win that fight. And I salute him, man. I definitely salute him.
People compare it. Look, what for me I don't like is the biases. I don't like the fact that Anthony Joshua wins against Klitschko. That's a career-defining fight. That's made him into a superstar. But the fight that Wilder had against an unbeaten Cuban fighter that everybody thought was the bogeyman in the division, unbeaten, unscarred, never been stopped in his career, that's not a signature win. I don't get it. But while Joshua's fight against Klitschko is a signature win, I don't get it.
Well, the people who say that are people who want it to be a signature win for Joshua and not a signature win for Wilder. You know what I mean? it's to the point where, like you said, the fights were similar in the sense that both fighters were older. Both fighters, as far as Joshua and Wilder, had to prove themselves and prove their heart and prove their ability to take a punch and come back and desire to win. They both had to prove that. Joshua did a great job versus Klitschko. But I'll tell people this, take into consideration this. Klitschko was coming off a 2-year layoff when he fought Joshua, and a loss and a 2-year layoff to Tyson Fury, okay? He came back and Joshua made him look 20 years younger, okay? Now, look at Ortiz, who's an undefeated fighter, who nobody wanted to fight except for Deontay Wilder, obviously. Wilder fights him. Wilder knocks him down. Ortiz comes back, hurts Wilder, almost stops Wilder. Wilder comes back and stops Ortiz. Why isn't everyone celebrating that? Hey, we have Wilder versus Joshua, 2 amazing heavyweights, clash of the Titans. Let's make it happen. Everybody should be happy.
Everybody should be happy, but I'm not quite sure where this. You want to make a super fight. To make a super fight, you need to have 2 bona fide guys that are good enough to sell the platform first and foremost, and secondly, both guys being undefeated. One from America, one from the UK. That's what people want. I don't understand, but I think maybe it's because some of these fans that are going on about things are not historical. They weren't there when Bruno fought Tyson, or when maybe Lennox Lewis fought against Tyson, or he fought against Holyfield, or he fought against Michael Grant, for example. I don't think people understand that, going back chronologically, and don't understand the making or the building of a big fight. You need to have an A side and a B side, or you need to have 2 fighters, one from America, one from the UK, to make that super fight. I'm not sure if people quite understand that, if you get what I'm saying, 78.
Right. I definitely understand that.
So
yeah, go ahead, brother.
So when you've got a situation like that, and people say don't want to credit one guy, or want to give another guy credit, which is fine, you can do that. But it's the biasness. So then you're having a conversation with a guy that's, oh, I love Joshua. Why do you love Joshua? Oh, he's got big muscles and he's strong, and but they won't see his flaws. But they'll look at Wilder and say Wilder was exposed. What do you mean he was exposed? We all knew he was technically flawed. So what do you mean he's exposed? You can't expose what's already in broad daylight, that the guy's got technical flaws.
Right. I say the same thing, man. It doesn't make sense to me. I mean, we knew what Wilder, going into the fight, we knew Wilder was not the best technical boxer out there. You know what I mean? What we didn't know about Wilder was, did he have a chin? Does he have heart? We knew he had a punch. And now we know he has a punch, he has heart, he has a chin, he has a good chin. I mean, he could withstand. He didn't fall down, he didn't quit. He had every reason to quit. He was sick, and he was getting his ass whooped in the 7th round. He could have quit easily. He chose to continue.
There's something else. Isn't it ironic that isn't it ironic that the guy who supposedly has poor boxing skills, has got poor fundamentals, actually landed the counter punch to actually go on to stop Luis Ortiz?
Say again, bro.
I said, isn't it ironic that the guy who lacked the boxing ability and the boxing skills and had all these flaws actually landed the counter punch to stop the more technically fundamental boxing Luis Ortiz?
Right. And it was what Evander Holyfield said something after the fight. Very interesting. He said that Holyfield admitted, he said, I thought Wilder was the guy with no skill and, just a big punch. He said, but Wilder showed me he was smart in this fight, because he said when he got hurt, he closed the distance and came towards Ortiz instead of backing up. He said everybody assumed Wilder would back up, which would lead to him getting knocked out. He closed the distance, made Ortiz smother his own punches. He grabbed him, which is smart. That's the tactic that Holyfield did against Tyson. But big punches, you got to smother them. You know what I mean? If you back up, trying to do that little thing, and that's why I was scared of Wilder too, because he have a tendency that when he gets hit to like throw his hands in the air and back up and pull out. And I just thought that was going to be his demise, but he looked great. He looked great against Ortiz, man, with that.
Yeah.
I said in the build up to the fight, when people were jumping on this same channel, were jumping up and down when Ortiz had that comeback fight against Daniel Marquez, and I said to them that was a waste of time. He should have fought an opponent that was tall and long to prepare himself to fight Wilder. I said that is no preparation to knock a guy over in a round or 2 rounds and say you're ready to fight Deontay Wilder, having not been in the ring for a year. That's the wrong preparation. And people said, no, it's the right preparation. I believe if Ortiz had fought Deontay Wilder around the time that he fought, he was messing around with Malik Scott and Dave Allen, I think we'd have seen a different fight.
Yeah, that's interesting. Good point.
Yeah.
I see you in here, Bo. What's up, Bo?
First of all, man, I will be driving to Milwaukee. Me and you gonna have a little talk, man. Me and you gonna have a little conversation. But no, you know what? I just want to say to the one guy that had something to say to Ingram about him not being legit. Well, you're sitting on your couch watching him. So what does that say about you?
Yeah.
At that, okay. I'm gonna end it at that right there. You sitting on your couch listening to him and watching him. So what does that say about you? So, all right, but you know, here's the problem is I'm not shocked that they did what they did to Wilder because they did the same thing to Andre Ward. Remember, the complaint was it's not that we don't like Floyd, we just want somebody that doesn't do what Floyd do and we'll cheer for him. Okay, well, you had Andre Ward, and guess what? They shitted on him, right? So now here's Deontay Wilder, and all of a sudden now people want to talk skill. And I remember this specifically when the talk was, well, you don't really have to be that skillful as a heavyweight. You just have to be a punch. Then the talk was remember how shocked everybody was when Gennady Golovkin used the jab against David Lemieux? They were stunned that he used the jab. Now the talk is, well, we don't know how skillful Luis Ortiz really is. I mean, he didn't win a gold medal. He wasn't a world champion. Remember when Eddie Hearns had Luis Ortiz and it was, man, Wilder should fight Luis Ortiz. Now it's, oh, well, I mean, you know, Luis Ortiz. I mean, we don't know how old Luis Ortiz was and all of that, right? Wilder had every reason from jump not to fight Luis Ortiz. He had already failed the drug test, so that was his out, okay? You know, nobody else wanted to fight him, and nobody was caring that once Luis failed that drug test, nobody was caring if he fought him again. Matter of fact, he got suspended by the WBA for what happened in the WBC, and nobody cared. Now, all of a sudden, there's this community surrounding love for Luis Ortiz. Man, fuck out of here. Boy, these people are something else, man. But when you look at that fight, it's the fight that Wilder needed to show everybody, like we said, that he can not only weather the storm, but like Evander Holyfield said, he also was smart in this aspect of every now and then he would throw a punch, even if it had nothing on it, to let the ref know I'm alert. Then his walk back to the corner, it was very slow. And most guys, when they walk back to the corner, they try to hurry up and get back to the corner, they stumble and fall. And that's when the doctor look at him and ref, he walked very slow back to the corner to gather himself. That was extremely intelligent on his part.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I was impressed. I was impressed by Wilder's performance, and I was impressed by Ortiz's performance. I was impressed by Ortiz in the fact that he didn't let Wilder know that he was intimidated by Wilder's power. He was intimidated by the power, but he knew that this was his shot, and Ortiz didn't deviate from his game plan. He kept going, he kept fighting, and man, he put up a good fight, man. Ortiz is still the top heavyweight in my opinion, man. He put up a real good fight. Wilder's punching power is something ridiculous, man. I mean, the man is hitting you with the last 2 knuckles on his hand. He hitting you, he grazing shots, and it's still destroying people. You know what I mean? And I just, me personally, you know, I have a hard time believing that AJ, who doesn't have the best head movement, is going to be able to avoid that.
Well, at least for 12 rounds. See, that's the. Go ahead,
AJ's got a lot of problems versus Josie Parker, in my opinion. He's going to have to get past Josie Parker, and that's not going to be very easy at all.
Yeah, true.
That's true. Well, I said that we could actually learn more about Deontay Wilder versus Joseph Parker than we did about Vladimir Klitschko. And a lot of people told me I was crazy. And I said, when you look at it, Joseph Parker is a pure boxer. He's going to have to come in light, and he's going to have to try to outbox the boxer, meaning AJ's going to have to do something he don't like doing, which is going to actually have to move. He's going to actually have to try to fight on the movement, cut the ring off, and corner Joseph Parker. And that's what I'm saying. So we're going to learn a lot in this fight. And, of course, people are going to say I'm crazy. I don't know what I'm talking about, and that's fine. But I bet you if I explain it to you, watch Joseph Parker when he fought Andy Ruiz. Watch when he fought even I thought he might have lost to Huggy Fury, but watch when he fought Huggy Fury. Joseph Parker is not a stationary target. He's going to move. He's going to turn. He's going to give you feints and throw little jabs at you and move out of the way. So while Joshua got to figure out a way to slow this dude down and corner him, which means that he's going to have to be able to move his feet, positioning his feet, be able to beat him to the punch with his own jab to get him to back up.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think for Parker to win the fights, for me, the game plan is very simple. Whether it can be executed is another matter altogether. Keep Joshua on the back foot with his back against the ropes, and just keep and get on the inside of Joshua. That's what I believe is the way to beat Joshua. He's a front foot fighter. His momentum's all on the front foot coming forward. But when you put him onto the back foot and you put the pressure onto Joshua with his back against the ropes, he can't get the momentum to get those big shots off, in my opinion. And throw lots of left hooks. Very vulnerable to the left hook. And when you hurt Joshua, and if Parker does hurt Joshua, he's in there with Parker, who's a very good finisher. Very good finisher. So if he gets hurt, and like he got hurt against Klitschko, or he got hurt against Dillian White, there's problems. There are serious problems.
I think the most important thing is what weight Joshua going to come in at. He can't come in at 254 pounds against Parker. He got to come in at anywhere between 230 and 235. Makes him a little bit. Watch when he fought Dillian White. Heck, even watch when he fought Dominic Brazzelli. At that weight, he was a little bit more mobile, and his punches were a little bit more straighter. When he's at 250, he's throwing looping punches, and Carlos Takam was able to duck those hooks. He's throwing these wide looping punches, which is why he was late to the punch against Klitschko. And even was missing just by a fraction against Carlos Takam.
And was tiring against Takam. And people saying, as he says, Joshua's a good counter puncher, though. Against who? See, when people make statements like this, I want you to tell me who you're talking about counter punching. And look, the basic catch and shoot, I'd be telling Joseph Parker over and over again, catch and shoot, catch and shoot, catch and shoot. Because Joshua makes the same mistakes over and over and over again. Joshua is actually most vulnerable when he's throwing punches. He's most vulnerable, as silly as it sounds, he's most vulnerable when he's throwing punches. When he got hurt by Klitschko, he was throwing punches. When he got hurt by Dillian White, he was in a sequence of throwing punches, and he got caught with a catch and shoot. That's when Joshua is at his most dangerous, is most vulnerable, when he's on the attack. Because I don't think he is defensively responsible. He's all right going out throwing punches, but it's what's coming back's a problem. Just a personal observation.
I hope Joshua comes in at 255 or something like that against Wilder. If he gets past, if he gets past Parker, I hope he comes in heavy. A big muscle bound guy against Wilder, because it's gonna be easy. It's gonna be an easy work. I'm telling you. Nobody believes me, but I'm putting everything I got on that fight, man. That's gonna be the fight that takes me from 78 Sports TV to King 78 Sports TV. I'm gonna tell you.
Are you talking
Wakanda? You go Wakanda? You gonna be down there in Wakanda?
I'm gonna tell you, man. I'm gonna be living a good life. I'm telling you, I'm putting some money on that fight, man, because I just see it. The Wilder Ortiz fight scared me, it did, but the Wilder Joshua fight, stylistically, I feel it in my bones, man. I just feel it now.
That Ortiz fight didn't scare me, It did not scare me. I remember I was listening to it, watching people making their comments when Wilder was getting hurt. They're going, "Oh yeah," and I had problems with my audio. And people say, oh, yeah, oh, he's ducking now because Wilder's hurt and Wilder's going to get knocked out. I said, you know what? Ortiz, the longer this fight goes, Ortiz is going to tire. I said to people with the Bright Jennings fight, he was tiring against Jennings. He was tiring. And
he was tiring against Malik Scott.
Them slow feet. I said, you ain't beating Deontay Wilder with them slow feet. And what happened? What happened?
Yeah, he was tiring against Malik Scott. Yeah, he got frustrated. Yeah. But you said something earlier about he fought the wrong guy to prepare him for Wilder. From a coaching standpoint, and a coaching perspective, you're right. But from a promoter perspective, that was the right opponent because the way he dispatched him, and you know how people are, you knock a guy out and they just automatically get hoopla hype. They forget everything else. So from a fan perspective, for the build-up and fighting Wilder, it worked in that aspect. But I agree with you from a coaching standpoint. No, that wasn't the right fight to prepare you for Deontay Wilder.
No, it wasn't. Did I not say it in the build-up that Ortiz, the opponent Ortiz had, was terrible? He put better sparring partners than that opponent.
Yeah.
So it's not good. A lot of people talk about Wilder versus Joshua. Like I said, they're overlooking Joseph Parker.
Yeah, you can't overlook Joseph Parker. I admit I've been kind of overlooking Parker because I want to see Joshua versus Wilder so bad, but Parker could definitely spoil that. He could definitely spoil it.
What happens if Parker fights Wilder?
It's going to be a more competitive fight, in my opinion.
See, Parker's movement has the ability to neutralize that right hand of Deontay Wilder. He'd have to try to find him more.
Yeah, it's stylistic matchup. See, I think AJ beats Parker, but put it this way, I think Wilder versus AJ is an easier fight for Wilder, but I think Parker versus Wilder is a tougher fight stylistically because of the movement. Just like Tyson Fury versus Wilder, I think it'd be a tough fight for Wilder.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Do you actually think which version of Tyson Fury are we talking? Are we talking the Klitschko Tyson Fury? I don't think that guy's ever going to return. I don't think that guy's coming back. That fighter that fought against Klitschko, that particular guy is not coming back. That's going to be a guy for the history books. So we don't know what Tyson Fury is going to come back.
Right. Yeah, so, we still got to see Tyson Fury, what he's going to look like. You know what I mean? But I think if he's to form, if he's his old self and he's moving well, pumping the jab, talking a little trash, that could be an interesting fight, him and Wilder.
See, Tyson
there's only one thing about that. I mean, we seem to be, and even I at one point had to take a step back and think, hold on. He did well against Klitschko, but let's remember, this is the same guy that got knocked down by Steve Cunningham, the same guy that got knocked down by Pychik. That same guy. And you're wondering what happens when Wilder connects on Fury's chin.
Yeah, that's the only thing that I say to that is the thing that Tyson Fury does is he changes the way you want to fight. Like the only way that Klitschko was going to beat Tyson Fury was he would have had to become an inside fighter, and he's not an inside fighter, right? And the same thing here, Deontay Wilder would have to not so much to try to become an inside fighter, but he would have to throw feints toward Tyson Fury jab because make him step back, throw some feint jab towards his body. Have to get him off balance by throwing some punches towards his body and then kind of try to quick count him up at the head. So, but I do agree with you. See, the problem is even in the Klitschko fight, when Klitschko decided to turn it up and get close and let it go, he did land a nice, good shot on Fury. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's hard for me to think that anybody can go 12 rounds with Deontay and not get touched. And then you got, like, I see people saying that, in the fight with Deontay got no jab. Well, he was fighting a left-handed southpaw. Like, that's hard to jab. The only person I've ever seen do that successfully was Marco Antonio Barrera against Prince Nassim Hamed, but Hamed really doesn't jab either, I
people are caught back in 2015. This is 2018. Tyson still has not announced a fight yet.
Yeah,
he's no longer being trained with Fury. I still struggle with this thing that Tyson Fury, the good fighter that he is suddenly just going to come back and just be at the top of the heavyweight division. It doesn't happen like that.
Right. It doesn't necessarily happen like that, but you still want to give the guy the benefit of the doubt as far as he's undefeated. We haven't seen nobody beat him. And if he comes back and he's what he was, if he can do that, then I mean it's gonna be a good fight. If not, then whoever fights him pretty much is gonna. Tyson Fury's best bet is to come back, fight a bum, and then fight one of the big guys at heavyweight to get the money, because it's pretty much it's not gonna matter if he finds himself, if Tyson Fury comes back and get knocked out by Wilder or Joshua or something like that, people are automatically, Tyson Fury hardcore fans are gonna blame it on his problems outside the ring. Regardless of what happens, they're gonna blame it. So he might as well just get his money and get knocked out.
Yeah, I agree with that.
My concern about I'm expecting Tyson to fight probably Shannon Briggs, but my concern is this: it's the length of time he's been out of the ring, and then the announcement when he was going to come back to ring in terms of the boxing licensing him back to him, and the amount of time it's taken between the boxing license and him actually getting back in the ring. My concerns about whether he still has the hunger and the desire and really wants to be a part of boxing anymore, or he's doing it because that's all he knows what to do in life. I don't know. There's a lot of questions that need to be asked. He's not been in the ring for almost 3 years, and it's like you're now a civilian again. You're not a boxer. You're a civilian. When you get back in the ring and you get hit on the chin again, you got to go through that process all over again. He's a little bit older. Question you got to ask yourself is, does he still want to be at the top of the tree? Having been the heavyweight champion of the world already, it's only one belt he hasn't won, which is WBC belt. Does he really want that?
Yeah. The thing about being out the ring for so long is, as you're out the ring, you get older, and as you get older, there are things that your body gets used to for the length of time you're out. For example, your body gets used to not getting up so early. Your body get used to not dieting. Your body get used to quote unquote the good life, where you could wake up when you want to wake up, jog when you want to jog, stop when you want to stop, work out. Instead of like before, when you was training, you work out 3 hours. Now you might work out 30 minutes. So there's certain things your body get used to. And as you get older, it's harder to get your body back into that mode to where it's effective. You can do it and be effective. So I agree with you. And then once your body gets a certain way, your mind follows, So I agree.
The other thing is, he wants to take easy fights or, work his way back into the world heavyweight scene. That's fine. But he's not doing it with Peter Fury. So you know Peter Fury is not a yes man. You know Peter Fury is a man that's going to say to him, this is how it is, Tyson. You need to get yourself in this sort of shape or I'm not having it with you. And I don't know what his new trainer's like. I don't know if he's getting away with things. I don't know if he's cutting corners. I don't know what his relationship with his trainer. It's all right saying he's a nice guy, but is he going to be good enough to get you back to the top where you were against Klitschko and more and then some? Because that's only Klitschko, who had already been knocked out, who already had mental demons. Is that good enough against a guy like Joshua, who's not got mental demons, or a guy like Wilder, who certainly has got no mental demons, or Joseph Parker? Those three guys were hungry, they're fresh. None of the three guys have been knocked out. That's a different proposition altogether, as opposed to Klitschko.
Did you say his trainer was a nice guy?
Pardon?
Did you say something about his trainer being a nice guy?
It doesn't make a difference if his trainer's a nice guy. I was saying, if his trainer's a nice guy, it doesn't make a difference. It's whether he can get Tyson to the level of where he was at Klitschko and then some. Because he's not come back just to fight Klitschko again. He's gonna have to do more than that.
I was saying that because if your trainer is a nice, I don't want a trainer that's a nice guy. I want a trainer that's gonna get in my ass and make me bust my ass because that guy wants the best for me. Nice guy trainers, are gonna mess around and get your ass whooped. So I don't want a nice guy. So I agree with you. If this trainer isn't the type of take no shit and put my foot in your ass type trainer, then I mean, I agree with you.
Hey,
The
guys,
best trainers. Go ahead.
I gotta say something real quick. Hey, I gotta go help my wife with these groceries real quick, but I'm gonna get with y'all in a minute.
All right, go wash them dishes, nigga.
Yeah. All right, man. Hey, much love, man. I'll jump back in a minute.
All right, man.
No worries. So, Bo,
what's going on, man?
Tuesday night. How's that?
Say what now?
2 Cubans failing on the same night.
Yeah, man. It was a it was a tough weekend for Cubans. Yeah, but you know what though? I give them both credit. They fought tough opponents. They went out on a shield. So I give them credit for that, man. They fought tough opponents and went out on a shield. So and they showed a lot of heart, in the defeat. Yes. So got to give it to them. I mean, and there's one thing I definitely want to point out. There are people who say that just because he lost to Deontay Wilder Ortiz, that AJ will beat him, Fury will beat him, Parker will beat him. Hey guys, in boxing, just because fighter A beats fighter C does not mean that fighter can beat fighter B. I'll give you guys a small example, right? Run Vasai lost to Quadras. Quadras also lost to Chocolatito, but Run Vasai beat Chocolatito. So that's just to help you guys out a little bit. It don't work like that in boxing.
That's true. You notice we had Dimitri Bivol on the channel, Bo.
Yeah, I saw that. You had I think was that Yolanda Cortez and was that BSO or who that little program that she works with?
Yeah, the Faith Fighters.
Faith Fighters. There, yeah, that's it.
Then we had Bivol. We did a live interview with him on the channel.
Yeah, I've been watching you, man. You've been doing your thing. I was looking at you, saying to myself, "Oh man, that's my dog. I'm proud of him, man. Taught him everything he knows."
But that young man, he's got such a when you talk to a fighter and you kind of sniff them out to find out what they're about. This guy has got what it takes to be a superstar.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
When I saw him, what he did yesterday, because say what you want to say, he knocked out Barrera. Most cats knock him down. And that was my biggest fear was I said that he has the ability and the power and technique that if he gets you hurt, he can finish you. And that was my big concern is if he gets Barrera hurt. Now, I thought if Barrera can get past those first 4 rounds, he has a chance of finishing on his feet. But he also showed us that, hey, it don't matter what round it is. He can finish you at any time because he's in good shape, which was good. He answered that question. And he also faced adversity with a cut over his eye. He didn't let that deter him. So, I was majorly impressed. As far as I'm concerned, he passed a very huge test. And the way he passed that test was just spectacular. Like the way he passed his test, in my opinion, was better than the way Wilder passed his test. Wilder passing his test was just more spectacular because we saw his chin get tested. But the way Bivol passed his test was we saw, you can go the distance. You still got power. You can stick to a game plan and not get distracted, whether it's not going right or you get cut or something thrown in there. You can still do what you know what I'm saying? You can still do what you need to do. And that was good for a young fighter, only 12 fights.
Absolutely. He's going to be a real serious threat in the light heavyweight division. I asked him a question about Andre Ward. I said, is he the best in the division? He went, some say he is. I said, well, what do you think? Not what some think. I said, what do you think? He went, he's in the top 3. So he wouldn't open his mouth and say, I think he's number 1, because he obviously Bivol believes in his own ability. I would like to see Bivol fight Kovalev, to be honest.
Yeah, here's the thing. I'm not trying to talk about no fighter, but when I saw that fight, it made me realize why Badu Jack and them chose the path they chose instead of fighting Bivol. And what I mean by that is high risk, low reward. That's what I'm saying. It's high risk, low reward. Because you could have been a champion, fight another champion, and this would have been a unification bout. But it's high risk, low reward. You would have fought him and wouldn't have made a lot of money, but you would have lost something big, which is a big potential fight down the line. So I can definitely see, like, I could see a lot of guys watching that fight and being like, I don't know.
A couple of issues. I'm hearing that people are saying that the fight is off between GGG and Canelo. That's interesting. What do you think?
I think that it's too quick to make a call like that. Listen, the WBC is, if they're not about anything, they're about money. Okay. And if Canelo Alvarez, who has said that he will take their belt, he said, okay, I'll get over it. I'll take your belt in this fight, right? The WBC, the WBA, and even the IBF, the one thing that they're about money and prestige. And what they'll do is they'll come to some agreement where they'll say, okay, look, we'll just give him a strenuous amounts of tests moving forward from this point forward. And he has to pass these strenuous amount of tests. And I definitely think that that's what they'll do, because if you put the fight off, what you're going, I mean, this is just what, March? You still got April, and the fight takes place in May. So you still got all the rest of this month, and then you got all of April. So you still got like about well over 40, 50 days. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. Like I said, I just can't see the WBC making a decision this fast. We just found out he failed the test. So I can't see the WBC making a decision this fast about something like that. But stranger things have happened.
That's what people are saying. It's 100% off.
Well, you know what? I'll put it like this. Until I see a official statement from the WBC, then, you know, because right now I haven't seen anything from the WBC, the IBF, you know, the WBA. I haven't seen nothing from none of them. So,
okay. Let's talk a little bit about Clenbuterol and Canelo. I didn't want to jump the gun because when I first heard about it, the first thing I said to myself is, I wonder who Canelo's team was pissed off. That's the first thing I thought. Rather, he's a cheat. What do you think?
You know what, Ingram? I hate to say this. Man, you know, people don't understand when we do this, when we come on and we talk the sport of boxing, we try to be as fair as impartial as we possibly can, and we're humans. And we also try to take in consideration, like, and this is why, you know, Ingram is my brother. I mess with him. And I might always agree with 78, but, you know, I talk to him too, and, you know, a couple other cats. But what we try to do is we try not to allow ourselves to be influenced by the media and by the public.
Exactly.
See what I'm saying? You try not to be influenced by the media, and you try not to be influenced by the public. So people are going to feel the way they feel, but we have an obligation to wait to see how things play out. So I'm not going to call him a cheat, especially when there's evidence that that particular type of thing he got caught with is indicative to a lot of Mexican fighters who Eric Morales got. And I mean, it happened to Eric Morales. You see what I'm saying? So, and, you know, and then of course the statement was released that the amount that was found in him is consistent with the amount that you would find with somebody that's eating contaminated meat. My only problem is that I just really felt like they should have did better with making sure what they was bringing into camp, especially being in Mexico, knowing this problem took place. But supposedly now they're going to move the camp from Mexico to the U.S. And I guarantee you Canelo's going to go through a strenuous amount of tests.
Right. But he said he doesn't care. He'll do it.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, you know, fans, listen, boxing needs fans. It does. Fans are fickle though. Seriously, fans are fickle. I mean, if they don't like you, you're a cheat. If they like you, there's a reason for it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just, you know.
There's another thing I want to talk about. I really didn't want to go into the topic, but while you're here, I haven't heard the statement, but I've heard murmurings about Abel Sanchez and his statement about black fighters.
Uh-huh.
What exactly did Mr. Sanchez say?
Okay. And this is definitely one our 78 should come back. I'm glad 78 ain't on for this one. That's all I can say. I'm glad he got off of this one. Blood Boxing might be listening. What's up, Blood? But what he said was that black fighters don't make any money. You can't make any money fighting black fighters because they have a style that is not friendly toward the fans. They have this they have more of a slick boxing style that fans just don't want to see. They don't want to see that. He said, I turned Terry Norris purposely into the Mexican style fighting because that's what's exciting for the fans and that's what'll bring money. So, and basically what he was, saying was that black fighters are not exciting to watch. And they don't make, and you can't make any money fighting them. And the interesting thing about it now, I didn't go the race route because I had a panel of people that was on that I knew they would go that route. This was my take on it. What Abel Sanchez said to me was, you don't give a shit about your fighters. You don't care about your fighters' health. Only because that style you're talking about, how many people have gotten hurt in boxing? How many people have been Terry Norris can't even talk right now because of that style you gave him. We just saw Quadras get his ass whooped because of that so-called style you gave him. Okay. And if you really want to be honest, Mexican style, when I was coming up, meant that this dude is tough and he's a hell of a body puncher. That's what it meant. Okay. And so to say that they can't make money, he must not have heard of Mike Tyson. He must have forgot about Floyd Mayweather. He must have forgot about Sugar Ray Leonard. He must have damn well forgot about Larry Holmes. I mean, Anthony Joshua is the biggest money-making black person right now in all of boxing, and he had no problem when it came to fighting Dominique Wade, Daniel Jacobs, Curtis Stevens, Willie Monroe. You had no problem fighting them dudes. Kell Brook, you had no problem fighting them. Now all of a sudden they don't make you money. What Abel Sanchez is doing, he's setting things up because Jamal Charlo is next in line. He's a young lion. They don't want to take that fight because they want big money fights. And if they can't get big money fights, they're not interested in it. He was better off just saying, well, he was better off saying anything other than that. He could have just said, well, Floyd's type of style of fighting is what people don't like. He was better off with that. But Abel Sanchez, I mean, come on, man. I'm not surprised. He says all kind of weird stuff, so. I see you turning your head there, Ingram. What's going on? What's going through your head?
I'm turning my head and I'm just like, how much I talk to Abel.
Yeah.
So, and I'm just, okay. What is Abel trying to get out of here? What's his end game? This guy is the he knows how to beat a drum. He's like a Pied Piper, Abel Sanchez. I guess I'll talk to him. Yeah. I'll do an interview with him and talk to him.
Because you can't tell me Earl Spence is not exciting to watch. You can't tell me Terence Crawford is not exciting to watch.
I'll do an interview and I'll talk to Abel about it and we'll see what he's got to say about it. I know a few people have spoken to him already, but yeah, he's probably regretting those comments he's made now. Because I don't. When I heard this statement, when I read what people were saying that Abel had said, the first thing I thought was Terry Norris and the state of Terry Norris.
Yep.
That I was concerned about. First thing I thought was Terry Norris because I reached out to talk to Terry Norris and his, I didn't know what his state was until it was revealed to me that Terry Norris couldn't talk because he'd taken so
Terry Norris. He couldn't, and that's the thing. It's like that.
Trained by Abel Sanchez.
Yeah, you talking about that style. He's talking about that search and destroy style.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the number of fighters that style has, caused some pretty good harm after they was done with boxing.
Guys like Golovkin, I'm concerned about. You look at the amount of shots Golovkin took in that fight against Canelo. That fight is a sort of fight that fans may fight. It might be fan friendly, but no way is that health friendly.
No. Meldrick Taylor.
And you'll see, later on in Golovkin's life, that sort of stuff's not good.
Mm-hmm.
That stuff's not good. It might be exciting for the fans, but the damage that style has is not good.
Meldrick Taylor, I love Evander Holyfield, but even him, even Evander Holyfield. You look at Lennox Lewis; he has all his faculties, no slurring his words, no problem. And you might talk what you want to talk about him not being an exciting fighter, being boring, but look at how he left the game. Look at how Klitschko left the game. Look at how Andre Ward left the game. Heck, even Sugar Ray Leonard. Look at how they got all their faculties. They're not slurring their words, and they got all their faculties. That's how you want to lead boxing.
Boxing fans don't care about fighters. Boxing fans care about satisfying their addiction. That's the brutal, honest truth. Boxing fans don't care about fighters. Because if they did, they wouldn't make stupid comments like, "You don't deserve 50%. A boxing fan that cared about a fighter would say, "You know what? I want to make sure that the guy that's entertaining me tonight is getting paid as much money as possible so he can secure the legacy for his wife and his kids, and they can go home and be safe."
Mm-hmm.
That's what a boxing fan does. The boxing fans don't care about fighters. Yeah. This has been shown time and time and time again.
Not just boxing. Sometimes these coaches don't care about them. They don't. I mean, I'm sorry, not to call. I mean, the promoters. Sometimes these promoters, if they figure they can make a quick buck with you, they'll put you in a fight they know you're not supposed to have.
When a promoter cares about a fighter, by the way they're managed.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Okay. When you see a promoter sticking a guy in a world title fight that you know he's got no chance of winning, and he's getting 15 or 20% of that guy's income, that promoter don't care about a fighter.
Yeah.
Now, for me, look at Kell Brook. Kell Brook comes back. He beats what's his name? Rabchenko.
Yeah, that's his name.
First round, I was concerned for Brook in the first round because he looked very stiff. But then, as I said it, Brook's two punches Brook can find is the right uppercut or the straight right hand against Rabchenko. And as I said, uppercut, he fell on the canvas, and that was the end of Rabchenko. But let's be honest, he's a smaller light middleweight, and there's some real killers in that light middleweight division. And him talking about Spence rematch, there's delusion, and there's serious delusion. And you fought a welterweight, and I believe, from what I understand, Spence is actually a middleweight that's boiling himself down to welterweight. That's what I've been told. Now, if you believe that weight was the issue as to why you got beat by Errol Spence, then you must seriously be deluded. Because if weight was the issue for Kell Brook, the weight must also be the issue for Errol Spence. So if you're putting on poundage and putting on and able to put on extra weight, so is Errol Spence.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. And they're talking about putting him in the ring with Charlo. Are you serious? I'm serious. Are you serious? Charlo.
You said something that.
Go ahead, Paul.
No, I'm finna say you said something that made sense about putting Ortiz in with somebody that prepared him for Wilder. Rabchenko does not prepare you for Charlo.
That doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't. And he might prepare you to fight Amir Khan though, because they're the two punch I can see him hitting Khan with. I can see Khan falling over the same way as well, because Khan has got no punch resistance. And if he's foolish to take the fight at light middleweight, Khan, good luck to him. But coming back to Kell Brook, you know, the guy fights Golovkin, then he fights Spence, then he comes back and fights Rabchenko, and now you want to stick him in with Charlo? Is that really caring about a fighter's health? So what is he going to fight? He's got the choice between a Charlo, Ali, what's his name, Hurd, or Lara. Who else has he got in the light middleweight division? Bo? Yeah, is he gone? Is Bo gone? Bo?
Yeah, man, somebody was at my front door.
Oh, something. Yeah. So I said, who was Brook got in the light middleweight division? I said he faced Charlo, Ali, Hurd. Who else?
Trout, Julian, I think Julian Williams, J Rock.
Yeah, he could fight. He could fight Trout, because Trout is, I think he's past his best. So Trout is a guy he could fight. Julian Williams he could fight. Only because Julian Williams has been knocked out before, but he's been knocked out by a big guy.
But yeah, I'm about to say he's been knocked out by a pretty big guy. I think. See, it's hard. Like, okay, he could fight. You got John Vera. He could fight maybe Jack Colque. Maybe.
Can I just clean something up here? DJ6 says Brook would get cussed for fighting Jojo Dan and Gavin's Beasley. Now he wants to fight Spence again, or Charlie gets criticized. You can't have it both ways. No, you're missing my point. This is where you're taking a conversation that I've said and taking it down your own agenda. I said, in terms of promoters looking after fighters, Brook is going and fighting from Golovkin to Spence, Rabchenko, and now you're trying to put him with Charlo. I'm talking about how you look after a fighter and promoters looking after a fighter, and do they really care about the fighter? Where's that whole sort of like matchmaking and making sure it's a fair fight for the fighter? It's a winnable fight. Brook was never going to beat Golovkin. And the fight against Spence, if he was struggling at the weight, why didn't he vacate the title and move up to light middleweight then, rather than take a sustained beating with Spence? Why? Save his career.
Well, one of those fights Brook took was a comeback fight from a staffing injury. I forget who it was. So that fight was excusable because he's coming back from an injury. Most guys do stuff like that. Now, the point of the matter is, though, is that my thing is, we know he has health issues. As far we don't, like, Rabchenko didn't answer no question for me about, is his eye okay? Hell, is he okay? Like, Rabchenko didn't answer those questions. So before you throw him in there with the Charlo, before you throw him in there with a big Jared Hurd should be a light heavyweight. Okay, he should be a light heavyweight. He's big. I mean, I'm even worried for Lara about this dude. So before you throw him in there with guys that can physically hurt him, like fighting the Erislandy Lara, he would just get outboxed. But you throw him in there with guys that can physically hurt him, you might want to test to make sure that he's okay first from a health standpoint.
Jaguar Paul says, and we don't care about boxers. Then boxers' responsibility is to stay in shape, responsible, and F up everyone up. It's not feelings. Or do you guys need a little clinics to cry?
That's obviously somebody. That's obviously somebody that needs to sit at the kiddie table. You need to sit. This is for grown people. Go sit at the kiddie table.
Ingram, when are the questions and answers starting? I want to ask something about important. Cheers. Yeah, go ahead, mate. You will need a Kleenex when Wilder gets knocked out. LOL. Yeah, a Wilder is not is a riot. Wilder is a riot, a big part player in the AJ fight as it is right now. After Ortiz fight, he is the main attraction in that fight. Okay.
No, I think the main attraction is Anthony Joshua is always going to be the main attraction in any fight.
I'd say so.
Yeah,
two titanium. The bad guy says 2 titanium eye sockets not cool. Yeah, that's it. That's what I'm talking about. that you could say Brook. I would rather have seen Brook fight Spence, avoid the G. If he didn't fight GGG, so what? I wouldn't have cared he didn't fight GGG. I would rather him not fight GGG and fight the Spence fight. Would his eye socket have been broken? No. And he would have come into the fight as an unbeaten fighter. And in terms of him ducking, you couldn't put it before Brook's door that he was ducking, because he won the IBF title against Sean Porter. And Sean Porter at the time was considered the next Mike Tyson, in many people's estimation, after he knocked out Paulie Malignaggi. So let's be honest, Brook wouldn't have been considered a ducker. Only by keyboard warriors have been considered a ducker. So I don't know where this, well, if he didn't fight GGG, he would have been considered a cherry picking. No, because Sean Porter was hardly a cherry picker.
I just want to know, how is a guy that's at 147 would have been considered ducking a guy at 160 when the guy that really ducked the guy at 160 was Chris Eubanks Jr., who should have fought him? So if Brooks wouldn't have took that fight, think about this. The dynamics of the Spence fight would have been different had Brooks not have taken that fight. The only reason why the dynamics changed is when Brooks' eyes started fucking with him.
And that's where that's to do the science of the boxing outside the ring that a lot of these people haven't got a clue about. These are the same people that are negotiating for fighters. But you know what? It's interesting, because I'd like to know how many of these people, these working people that got to work at 9 to 5, would appreciate if Deontay Wilder or Keith Thurman or Errol Spence or Anthony Joshua went into their workplace and said, you know what? He shouldn't get paid today. She shouldn't get paid today. Or you know what? You shouldn't be earning £15 or £10 or £8.99, £8 an hour, or $8 an hour, or $10 an hour. I tell you what, we'll knock you out to $4 out because I don't think you deserve it. That's the sort of crap we have in the world today, which I just, in the world of boxing, which I think is ridiculous. Who the hell are you to tell another man how much you should earn unless you're their boss? Do you know what I mean? I think it's just wrong.
You know, it's kind of hard to say, but I'm gonna say it. In boxing, you guys got to understand something. These guys start out from the age of 5 and 6. Now, full disclosure, I was an amateur fighter, and so was Ingram. For just in case you guys don't know, so we're not just people that's sitting on the other side of a mic. We know what we're talking about. I was an amateur fighter, and Ingram was an amateur fighter. Okay, when you've been fighting. So, like when you say, "Oh, he threw the fight," blah, 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 when you've been fighting since you was 5, 6 years old, training, okay, you don't do all that just for somebody to flash a little money in your face for you to lay down and just get your ass whooped. Nobody wants to just get their butt whooped. So, if I reach a certain point and I know, well, the light at the end of the tunnel is almost there, yeah, I'm going to step up my demands to make sure I get every penny I got, because once boxing is athletes are the only people in the world that when you're done with that sport, the money stops. It don't come back to you in that fold. Okay. And it stops. And it's an itch that when you quit the game, that is hard for you to scratch. And a lot of athletes go crazy because of that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's very easy. I mean, when Carson Jones was in the UK, I learned so much more about the sport of boxing. I learned so much more because I was following a fight around literally every single day, and you get to see that person preparing to make weight, everything about a fighter, him going to get a brain scan, the food they eat, the things you don't see behind the scenes. They negotiate all sorts of stuff. When he didn't make the weight, why he didn't make the weight, that he was sick the week of the fight. He was sick when he arrived into the UK, but still was able to put on that performance against Cheeseman. The fans don't really all fans pay attention to is that night and that performance. Mm-hmm. But it gave me a deeper appreciation of fighters, a much deeper appreciation, and the work that they put themselves through. But but I'm not going to sit down here and be sensational just for views. I'll just be as honest as I can be. and try to be as non-biased as possible.
Yeah, it's not easy, man. You know, like I said, I'm going on my third year. I'm going on my third year. It's not easy, man, because you have a lot of these outlets that everybody want to be first. Everybody want to be first. Nobody want to be right. They just want to be first. Because I'm the first one to drop, that means I'll get the most amount of views, and everybody else just be piggybacking off of me. So everybody just want to be first, you know. And
it depends. It depends on what you want to become.
Yeah,
it depends on what you want to be. If you want to be considered legit, like for me, and I'm not being disrespectful to anybody else in the sport of boxing, but I want to be considered legit at what I do, which means not just doing boxing, but to go and cover other sports and to cover news and politics. I want to be considered serious in my journalism. I don't want to be just a guy that runs around with a camera. And those people do that. Full respect to what they do. It's a lot of hard work that everyone that takes part in media that does that. It's a lot of hard work. But you know, I want to be considered somebody who, when they listen to the videos, that they're getting as much truth as possible. And so when we have people on the channel, we have guests on the channel, that they too speak their truth. That's all. And that's all I've ever desired for the channel. And that's it, really, to be honest with you. What did you make of the thoughts I was talking about Deontay Wilder and his mental state, and the things about him having his eyes rolling the back of his head, and saying he was having out of body experiences when he knocked out Stavern?
Oh, okay. This is gonna sound kind of crazy. Being from the US, I can relate to that. I really can. I've gotten so mad to where I just lost it. You know, you get so mad, and whatever was messing with you that week, that it's going to be taken out on that person, whether it's something you read or something that happened to you. So I've actually had that happen where a situation where I was with my son, and I was so mad. I said, because of what he did. I'm not going to disclose what he did, but it was a situation where, if you know anything about family, the last thing you want to hear is your son tell you how they're going to hurt a particular family member, especially somebody that you love and you care about, right? So I couldn't believe that this was my son talking like that. I'm like, you've never heard that come out of my mouth. Where'd you get that from? And then he tried to challenge me, and it was, okay, Daddy, need to show you time. And it took my mom, my wife, and my daughter to calm me down, because I lost it. At that point, I'm like, that's it. It's time for him to die. So I can understand that. And then sometimes I think Wilder just says things for shock value, just to get people to be like, okay, this guy is interesting, because believe it or not, like, that's the American way. The crazier you are, man, the more money you can make. But the same person, no, you can't make a lot of money being sane.
So you don't think, I mean, there are some people here on the channel that actually think that there is some validity in what he said.
Say what now? I'm sorry.
Yeah, they say that he may be involved in some extracurricular activity with the sort of symbolisms he's got on his body and the tattoos and stuff. What do you think?
First off, does it matter? I mean, does it?
Well, I don't know. Depends on what side of the fence you're on.
Okay, all right. But second of all,
I mean, if you're looking at it from the perspective of somebody who's been an investigative journalist, yes, it does matter. If you're on the side of it as a boxing fan, no, it doesn't really matter. And if you're on the side of it of getting to know somebody more, then maybe it could matter.
Okay, Wilder is from the South. I don't know what a lot of people know from the South, but there's a lot of things that people in the South may do and believe in. I'm not gonna go deep into it, you know.
Yeah.
But I know he's from the South. But he's also a God-fearing person.
Right.
And he's a family man. He's a God-fearing and he's a family man, right?
Right.
But let me just say this.
Hold, wait. Hold on. God-fearing man. Well, there are a lot of God-fearing men in the world. I don't want to go religious here, but Bush is a God-fearing man. Trump is a God-fearing man. But you tell me. That doesn't
Hold
mean
on, wait a minute. And this what I was just gonna say.
Yeah.
But everybody will go their own way, regardless of that. Like whatever you believe is what you believe. And so, you know, you could be a God-fearing person, like, you know, like I grew up God-fearing, but I can tell you I didn't wait till I got married before I had sex. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, you know, so it's here in the US, there's certain places, certain cities you can be in, and there's certain cultures in that city that attract a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm in Chicago. So if somebody up here in Chicago was to talk to me about, you know, voodoo or Buddhism and all that stuff, I'd be like, man, I don't know what you're talking about, man. We don't got that around here. But if I went to the South or, you know, up north where they have it there heavily because of the culture that's there, then it's like, oh, okay, I see what you're talking about.
Right. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. There's people in the room. There's wearing the Antichrist, but being God-fearing and religious. Yeah, right.
What the Antichrist was he wearing?
Okay, DJ Slick, can you go in further about it? Then Eugene says, Ingram, take from a church boy. It doesn't work like that. LOL. And then Tube says he's been found in possession several times. What do you think?
I think a lot of times people don't understand exactly what those symbols means. Like, for example, you can tell people will probably say I'm part of the Illuminati because I'm a Mason. So if you saw the pyramid symbol on my shirt with the eye over it, you might think I'm part of a cult, and no, it's not. You have to understand what when you like, for example, I'm a Freemason. Okay, you have to understand the teaching. Huh?
Go on, Bo. You're a Freemason. Go on, Bo.
But
I thought if you're a Mason, you're not going to talk about it.
No, I can't tell you some of the signs and symbols and teachings of it, right? But I can let you know that, you know, I'm a Mason. It's not what you think, though. That's just like, remember a long time ago how Muslims was being looked at as being evil, and because they wore all blacks, they must be evil and all of that. No.
Okay, but isn't it dependent on what part of the organization you're at? If you're at the lower part of the organization, what about the higher ups of the organization? Would they say the same thing that you're saying? And what degree? And what degree? You know,
I'm sorry, what you say now?
I'm talking about. All I'm saying to you is that this is dependent on what part of the organization you're at as to how much commitment and all the rest of it, or is that all myth?
No, I mean, every sector has its own teachings. Like, every sector, every side has its own teachings, and
right.
You know what I'm saying? It's hard to explain. It's just one of them things that, you know, once you really get into it and see it, then you realize, oh, it's not what I thought. You know, it's like, okay, it's not what I thought. When I actually went to a Islamic Muslim church, and I actually went to an Islamic Muslim church. When I went to a Jehovah's Witness church, I'm like, oh, this is not what I thought. You know, because things that are not understood are often deemed to be bad.
Okay, we've got people jumping in the room here. They're saying UK boxing ABCD says Illuminati's excuse for people who can't control their lives. Most who talk about it are religious and poor. The Bible itself is a Freemason book. Very interesting. Bad guy says, I want to join the Three Masons. LOL. Then UK ABCD says Bible written in 300 AD. LOL. In Roman. Haha. And then Peter Powell jumps in and says, illuminated excuse for people who can't think. Then Tubes jumps in and says, who's the better the head of the Mason? So somebody asked the question here, did they make you do? Well, you can read that. Okay, you read it. Read what the Brave says.
Okay, hold on. Let me turn it on. Let me see.
Say it out loud.
All right, hold on.
Read what the Brave says. Oh, by the way, just to let you know, if you're really into it, there are 33 people watching now.
Okay, here we go. Did they make you do anal to join the Freemasons? Well, I don't know. Come over here and see for yourself. Come over here and join and see for yourself. And if that's what happens, I'll make sure I'm first in line for you. Okay. Make sure I bring you in right.
It's hard to be a lizard these days. Then DJ Slick jumps in and says, Bo won't know anything about Masons until he's at 33rd level. Then you're told to drink babies' blood and eat kids and do rituals. You can speak for yourself with your sacrifices.
How do you know I'm not at 33rd level right now?
Oh. The chat's gone left, says Tone. 300 AD, Constantine Roman Emperor. They wrote the first testament, the Bible. LOL. Anyway, so we've had more revelation tonight. We have, well, anyway. So,
that's good. That's good because I worked Sunday anyway, so I needed the spiritual uplifting, guys. I appreciate that.
Well, you're gonna get a different type of heat on your channel now. You do know that,
huh?
You're gonna get a different type of heat on your channel.
Yeah, well, I'm still gonna do me and do who I am. It's just, I mean, it's the internet, and listen, I know sometimes like it's just words, so I can't see people's faces. So because I can't see your facial expressions, I don't know if you're serious or playing. So I'm just gonna, assume that you're just joking around and playing.
Joe boy, you know your stuff. Oh, Tubes says Wilder should come out and face AJ at Wembley in illuminate ceremony. What do you think about that?
I think Wilder should face Anthony Joshua in the UK. That's where he's gonna make the most of his money. I mean, he's not gonna make. It's not gonna sell here because, contrary to popular belief, Anthony Joshua is not that big of a star in the US as he is in the UK. He's not gonna fill up a 90,000 stadium here in the US. So yeah, I definitely think he should fight in the UK. That's where he's going to make. If he wants a quick $10-15 million, that's where he'll get it.
What are your thoughts about this Joseph Parker fight coming up?
I think this is a very interesting fight. Listen, Joseph Parker, there's a reason why Joseph Parker and his team decided to fight Anthony Joshua instead of trying to face Deontay Wilder. Okay, only because UK fans may travel, but not 90,000. But only because with Deontay Wilder, there's a potential for you at any point in time to get just knocked out, flattened, right? Joshua might hurt Parker, but Joshua is not known for one punch hurting you. And you also saw with Vladimir Klitschko that he was able to recover from being hurt. Then you look at Carlos Takam. He hurt Carlos Takam, but Takam was able to recover. So Parker is hoping that if I get hurt and I use some boxing skills, maybe I can recover and still survive 12 rounds, to where when you get hit by Deontay Wilder, that's just not going to happen. So, and plus, of course, he'll make more money than he ever made fighting Anthony Joshua than he ever will fighting Deontay Wilder. And that's just the truth.
I think people are asking a question about Tyson Fury's deal with Eddie Hearn.
The thing about Tyson is that I think most of the time Tyson Fury is an in the moment type of guy. He does what he does what's good for the moment. And I think he misses the limelight, but at the same time, I think he knows if he's ready or not, and he's just trying to remain relevant until maybe he himself convinces himself he is ready. Okay, so I mean, I just don't know. By now, we should have had an opponent. By now, we should have had an opponent. By now, we should have heard about his weight. I mean, there should have been so many things by now if he's really serious about coming back that we should have heard and known about. So, you know, my take on it is until I finally see Tyson Fury in the ring, that's when I will believe he's actually coming back to boxing.
That's the only time I'm taking him seriously, when he's in the ring and he's fighting. That's the only time I'm taking Tyson Fury seriously. Until that time,
I mean, you kind of got to treat it like Mayweather and Pacquiao. Until I see those two guys in the ring, that's when I know they fight.
Yeah, that's. What are your thoughts on Liam Smith? He's fighting for the world title again against Saddam Ali.
You know, that's a weird one. I really can't say I have a huge problem with that, to be honest with you. Saddam Ali fought Miguel Cotto. Now, Miguel Cotto tore his bicep. And Liam Smith is ranked number 1. So I can't really say I have a huge problem with that. But it's I don't know. I don't really have a problem because the WBO rankings is not the best when it comes to it, right? So yeah, I don't have a huge problem with him fighting if that's what he wants to do. I mean, I think I think he can win that fight. I just think Saddam Ali just ran into a Miguel Cotto that was just, you know, he just didn't have it anymore.
Okay. What about Eugene's asking a question? Eugene, I'm trying to get you to come into the room. Eugene's asking the question. Quendo, have you bought your Quendo versus Char tickets?
Is that my man Eugene?
Yes.
Oh, okay. No, I have not. I have not.
Chicago, so why not?
Huh?
Good in Chicago, so why not?
No, I haven't. I haven't really bought my tickets. Actually, you know, I kind of forgot that fight was happening. To be honest with you, you know, it's yeah, it's, you know, it's one of those fights that when you hear about it, you're like, oh yeah, that's right, he is fighting that guy.
And so, how come you didn't bother? Why come he's one of your boys, Quendo, isn't he?
Yeah, I've just been so busy, man, and I actually kind of got off track, and he actually forgot about the fight because they're fighting for what, the WBA regular heavyweight title, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think is that fight taking place here in Chicago?
That's what I've been told.
Oh, okay, then, yeah. All right, I'm gonna look into that. I'm not being honest with you. I don't even, because I know my vacation is in April, so I got to see when that fight's taking place.
Have you got anything to say about Josh Taylor?
I like him. Oh, I like Josh Taylor. I'm not gonna even. I like Josh Taylor. I like. He showed me a lot in that O'Hara Davies fight. He showed me that you're not gonna just punk him. He that was one thing I liked about, and he showed that he has some fight in him. If you make him fight, he'll fight. He got some fight in him. So and then the fight after that, he finished the guy with a body shot. So no, I like him. I like Josh Taylor.
I think he's going places.
Yeah, there's very few like Josh Taylor. You got Linus Adofia. You know, there are some UK fighters that I watch. I'm like, man, I like this guy.
I've just sent you, Eugene. I've sent you the link, by the way. I know you'd love to have a few words with Bo.
Eugene, you want to take that whooping again? You want a shot at the title again, Eugene? You want a shot at the title, Eugene?
We definitely need to do a rematch. What do you think?
Hey, well, you know, man, I'm the BWTM champ, so if you want to get it, he can get it. You know what I'm saying? Undisputed, undefeated. You know.
Oh. Ingram, has Ingram's opinion of Ortiz changed? He fought with credit yesterday. No, my opinion of Ortiz hasn't changed because I said he'd get starched and he got starched. He didn't get starched in the first 3, but he got starched nonetheless because what exactly happened. To me, Ortiz was fit to fight, but he wasn't in the shape he needed to be in. and I don't mean physical, I mean mental and emotional, to prepare to fight Deontay Wilder. He wasn't ready. Is that Eugene in the room? Eugene's in the room. Eugene, how are you?
Doing great, Ingram. How are you guys?
I'm good. I'll leave you and Bo to talk. It's a
hold on, wait a minute. Stop. Eugene.
Yo.
I've got to ask this question.
Okay.
What in the blue hell are you doing with heart-shaped sunglasses on in your picture?
I don't know. It just kind of felt like it. I'm actually wearing a raccoon suit there, so there are more questions to it. Not a furry though.
No. I would never think that. It's just that was definitely one that was definitely one that put me out there. I'm like, is he wearing heart-shaped glasses?
Bo is still talking about being the undisputed champion, but I don't know what he's undisputed about, but he's talking about being undisputed.
You see, even he's not gonna argue that because he knows it's true. You see what I'm saying? He's quiet about it because he's like, yeah, he's right. He's kind of the undisputed champion.
Well, we should see about that.
We'll have to do another show.
About maybe sometime. But no. Actually, Ingram, we're running out of Cubans. What are we gonna do? The Fresa Quendo and Manuel Char fight is in Chicago on May the 4th.
Oh, May 4th?
Yeah.
Okay, I got time then. I got time. If that fight's on May 4th, I got time.
Well, Del Boy Donkey says, Ingram, ask the Freemason who his God is. Most of these Masons are just useful idiots serving the agenda and without full knowledge. They're only told limited information so they reach high levels.
You want to know who my God is? My God is the creator of all things and life itself. Figure that one out.
Okay. He says, what I've been, he says, I'm a 24th level Mason. He says, when I get to the 25th level, I get a Tyson Fury poster.
You can get that at level 3. You can get that at level 3 right about now.
What are your thoughts on Bivol, please, Eugene? Can you
Bivol, it's pretty good so far. You know, the funniest thing about light heavyweight right now is Andre Ward crippled Kovalev so much. He's just getting like really cheap fights. Because, okay, I get why he would fight Shabransky, right? That was a vacant title. But the next defense, they already announced it, and then they just got Mihalkin, and it was a pay-per-view. So it's weird because you can kind of see that his belief in himself is bad to the point where he needs that, I don't know, 5 or 10 knockout streak to challenge himself again. So right now the whole situation is Bivol is making hard moves. Kovalev is stalling. And I don't know what Better BF does. There were rumors about him signing with the Top Rank, but Top Rank said that that's nonsense.
Interesting. Would anybody be interested to see Kovalev Ward 3?
Well, we already know how it's gonna end.
Not according to a lot of fans. They still think that that Kovalev was fouled and was going to beat Ward in the second fight as well.
Have we seen Kovalev improving since then? I don't think
No.
so.
No, not at all. Not at all.
I didn't answer that because I don't care. Like, I'm with y'all. Look, I haven't seen Sullivan Barrera, in my opinion, made a mistake by picking Bivol because I felt like your style was better against Kovalev because we don't know where he is mentally. So if you start going to, like, the blueprint is there for you to beat him, you start going to that body and tagging him, he might go revert back to Andre Ward. So no, I'm not sold on Kovalev either.
Yeah, but Kovalev wouldn't take the Barrera fight unless he was like pressed against the wall with mandatory status or something like that.
What now?
He wouldn't take the Barrera fight, Kovalev.
Oh.
It's just the level of his opposition right now. It kind of tells where he's at, you know.
Beterbiev versus Bivol. Who wins?
Right now, Beterbiev.
Okay. Bo?
Beterbiev versus who? Kovalev?
Bivol.
Versus Bivol?
Yeah.
Beterbiev versus Bivol?
Yes.
Oh, man, I go with Bivol.
Ooh.
I go with Bivol.
You hear that? Eugene?
Yeah, I do. Sorry, that was me drinking water.
Butterbean says, Kovalev Ward 3, drunken racism, ball hitting, bizarre press conferences. Of course we do. LOL.
No, listen, the Ward 2 fight, the press conferences would just fall. Like, whenever I would watch Kovalev take the mic, he would have a temper tantrum because he didn't win the first one. And he would be pointing fingers and making, you know, empty threats towards Ward. And, you know, trying to, like, sell the whole idea that it's a big mistake and Ward cannot harm me. He slaps like a woman. And then, you know, he slapped him like a woman and basically Ward started walking backwards. So that happened. So
Go ahead, Eugene.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything left that we haven't seen.
I'm going to open a conversation up about a subject that is very close to my heart and I'm a bit concerned. And I've got real concerns for one man called Anthony Yard. Only because of the recent fights that have the similar trend. Ahara Davis, Josh Taylor. Chamberlain versus Akoli. And there was another fight as well, where the guy that's had the lack of amateur experience is getting beaten by the guy with the better amateur and pro experience. And you've got Yard now, who's had very little amateur experience, who's getting lots of push as a pro. What are your thoughts, guys? Bo?
I'm sorry, Ingram. My daughter was texting me. I guess she made it to her friends. What did you say? I'm sorry.
Eugene?
Yeah, so the whole thing is, it's kind of like there is a problem with fighters with really low amateur experience and high amateur experience. So if it's really low, the guy is doing really simple mistakes or get stuck, you know, kind of with what they're doing, and they're not really adjustable. While the guys with really low amateur experience, they just they're getting too fond of what they like doing. Like, for example, Alexander Usyk, I don't believe he doesn't have a hard punch. I believe his footwork, he relied so much on it that it now stands in the way of landing a crisp shot, for example. With Lomachenko, you see that he doesn't really changes the game plan. He just cranks it up, you know. He stands more on the paddle and starts putting more and more on you, just testing at which point you're gonna break. And we've seen, you know, basically with the recent Torticos fight and he he knows that he can do something really good, but then he just kind of gets trapped in it, you know, when the whole idea is, no, it needs to go out the window, we need to try something else.
Right. The bowl, we were just talking about guys who lacked amateur experience and then fighting in big pro fights. And then when they fight against guys who had better amateur experience, professionals, they come up short. I said, now I've got concerns for Anthony Yard going the same way as well.
You know, this is the point of what you have is this, not just so much as the experience, because Deontay Wilder picked up boxing when he was 19, but he was also able to go to the Olympics. And there's a whole nother level of experience when you go to Olympics. As Anthony Joshua picked up the sport late. But you have situations where guys will fight only a handful of amateur fights. Like Peter Quillin, he didn't have a stellar amateur career. Hence why when he met up with somebody that was a pretty decent boxer, and Daniel Jacobs, he got knocked out. But he also had trouble with Andy Lee, right?
Yep.
Now, people would say, okay, well, Canelo didn't have an extensive boxing career. Yeah, but see, in Mexico, you can turn pro at the age of 15. So all those fights he had from 15 up until he finally had a big fight was kind of like his amateur experience for him, right? Yeah. Then of course you take it's a list of guys that didn't have a long amateur, don't have a wide amateur background, and they will suffer once they step it up. O'Hara Davies was one of them. He didn't have a long extensive amateur background. You just mentioned Anthony Yard. He didn't have a long extensive amateur. That's what Josh Taylor, that amateur background killed him. Jessica McCaskill, although I like her and she's won the Golden Gloves twice, but she didn't have a long extensive amateur background like Katie Taylor. So when you talk about what you guys are talking about, you guys are spot on with that, because a guy can have 30, 40 fights in his local area, but where you really learn your trade is when you go to when you go to the Golden Gloves, or when you go to the Olympic tryouts, or when you go to the World National Tour with your team. That's where you meet different styles, different backgrounds, different skill sets, and you can assess how good you are from that in talking to people that have you. So I just think you need, in my opinion, you need at least minimum 100 fights before you should probably think about pro. Because I'm gonna say it again, and I know, Ingram, you could have 30 fights easy with no problem locally, but it doesn't mean that you beat some top guys. Where you meet the top guys is the Golden Gloves, and when you're trying to go for the National Olympics.
Yeah, absolutely. Eugene?
Well, I'm gonna readdress it, because at some point that number of amateur fights is actually getting like a heavier toll on you, because you get a little bit trapped in that amateur style, and you can see it with guys like, I don't know, Alexander Usyk or Lomachenko, right? They can only press on the gas pedal, and rarely they change what they do, you know. So they can, apply more of it, but you don't see them drastically changing it. So you kind of need like a golden medal, like where you have like 100, 150, 200 fights, but not more than that. Otherwise, like your entire view of boxing becomes amateurish, and then when you move towards professionals, it goes bad on you. I actually translated an interview with Lomachenko recently, and I'm gonna post it later on Twitter, about him not considering his loss to Salido an actual loss. Like he says, well, it's one on my scorecard, right? I got like taking that 0 off my resume, but I don't think I lost that fight, which means that even though he took certain lessons from it, like what not to do, he still doesn't accept the whole concept of 2 different games.
That's interesting.
It's not, when people say they didn't lose a fight, I struggle with that, because you're not admitting that there could be some flaws, there could be some things you could work on. Once you say that you haven't lost, you're like, well, I didn't lose that fight, so I've got nothing to improve on. But if you lose that fight, you say, you know what, I lost the fight, I've got to improve on this area, that area. A loss can make you stronger. It's character. It's all that character. Some people don't want to accept loss because they've got a winning mentality. But you know, the best kind of winner is the one who could understand a loss and work hard to ensure they don't lose again. You know, it's admitting.
Yeah, well,
go on.
You will see that in that interview he would say like things like, well, he was X kilograms heavier than me. Basically, he was saying like the guy was in welterweight at the fight night, and he still took the fight because he believed that he has enough experience to deal with it regardless. And what he's saying is like, if I could go back and tell myself, I would just say, no, don't take it just because of the advantage. He doesn't think that he didn't, he says that he believed in himself too early, and not that he didn't know enough about the game, you know?
But that's even more the reason why he should accept that loss, because whatever Salido weighed the night of the fight is irrelevant. Now, on the weigh-in, I think he was 2 pounds overweight the weigh-in. That's when you should have said no, because he still would have blown, Salido could have made weight and still blown up almost a welterweight overnight. That's, you know what I'm saying? So that's more the reason for me he should accept that loss, because you ultimately at the end decided to take the fight. You could have been like, nah, he's 2 pounds overweight, I'm not doing it. But once you accepted to take the fight, then you can't say I don't accept that loss because you accepted to take the fight. Like that's like that's like taking a job, right? And telling the job, once you take the job, I'm gonna take the job, but I don't like what you stand for, so I'm not gonna take the paycheck. Then why are you here? You know, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna take the job, but I don't like what you stand for, so I'm not gonna take the paycheck.
Well, I kind of sense kind of a hubris from him, you know, when it comes to his assessment of his own career. Like, he does everything his father would tell him to do, you know, which brings him a lot of success. But at the same time, if he was to be left alone and analyze, I don't think he would get really far.
Delboy Donkey says, Ingram, be careful around these Masons. They're basically acting as intel agents, tentacles of the elite doing their dirty work. That's how they've conquered countries and organizations.
Hey, Ingram, he's right. I'm sitting here right now playing Assassin's Creed. I'm trying to figure it out. The puzzles, the pyramids, the signatures, the figuring out the sand, the landmark. Oh man, once I get it down, I'm coming.
Having said that, you know, some of the best agents are very good at reverse psychology.
Yeah, that's true. Because I've let that's true. No, that's true. Because I've let both Eugene and Ingram believe that they're on the same level as me. So which is what makes for a great show. So
now, see, here's the problem. We have different measuring systems. You have a Cuban one, which makes you younger, right? And we have like an actual one. So if you're saying you're level 30, that means probably now we're like, I don't know, 45.
Yeah, that's quite right. He's right. You know, they on BoxRec, he's 38 years old. The reality is he's close to 48 years old.
I don't know, man. What does document say? His documents say 38, right? So we can only go by what the document paper says. No, but I'm saying we can only go by what the documented paper says, though. We can't.
Well, okay, sure.
Yeah. Look, you know how it goes. You know how it goes, Bo. You're Cuban. You know how it goes. So
I'm half Cuban. I'm half Cuban, and that half is important. See, that half is important because that half is the card that I can play depending on how a fight turns out. So Wilder won. I'm African American. You see, you feel me? You feel me? So I still get a W here because it's like, well, the Cuban lost, but wait a minute, I got my African American card. Get my money. Get my money. I still collect, baby. I still collect.
So
I have a question.
Go ahead, Yuji.
Regarding Wilder. The whole thing about him, you know, not being technically slick boxer and whole thing, I have a thought that doesn't just leave my head is that those 30 fights that they had, you know, basically fighting cab drivers or whoever.
Yes.
It was just to teach him how to set up and land that right hand. So they basically thought, well, you're not going to become Ali or whatsoever. Let's learn how to land it, you know, at any point of the fight.
Yes. I was just about to say, I think that Deontay Wilder is probably one of the best managed fighters in the world today. When you think about it, how he got to the position to become champion, how they've given him opportunity. If you look at Deontay Wilder when he first started his career and look at how he fights now, the poise he has now as opposed to he had then. You look at him when he's fighting back in the day when he's fighting, what was that? Do you remember that really overweight guy, fat guy, white guy? You know what I'm talking about? Justin, I can't remember his last name is. Bo, you'd know who it was.
No, I wouldn't know.
But anyway, if you look at Wilder when he first fighting, he used to bend over a lot. Now, as he's got older, more experience, he stands up more tall and more upright. So you can see how he's improved as a fighter. He seems to be able to judge distance and timing so much better now than when you first look at his career. So I think those fights have helped him. You know, they've done a good job with him. I think that timing is everything, and I think he got Ortiz at the right time.
Yeah, he did.
I think it's.
I gotta go, fellas.
I'm going to end this anyway.
Okay.
Is there anything else you guys want to say before we finish?
That I'm a knock Eugene out in the rematch.
Okay.
I'm gonna end his career. My eyes are gonna roll into the back of my head. I'm gonna go to that no place, and I'm gonna end his career. Yeah, I mean your career.
Eugene?
As soon as the opportunity shows up, I don't know what it's going to be. Should be something good.
So we'll have to do a debate part 2, I think.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you all for watching. Eugene, Bo, 78 Sports TV, Blood Boxing, DJ Slick, Butterbean, Peter Powell. God, there's so many names to hear. All of you. Triple D, Core 2917. Just going to go through you all and just say the bad guy, Tubes, Del Boy, Tone, Graham, who else? Alzi, Jam Potter, and anywhere else who's in the room. Smithy, Swinbuckle. Thank you all so much for being in the room tonight. And if I've missed you out, it's because I can't get the screen to scroll fast enough. Thank you all for watching BWTM Sports. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Hope you enjoyed the show. We did a long one tonight, but I think it was necessary. Thanks again to everybody. Take care and have a good night.
All right. You're going down. You're going down, BOW.